teens, welcome to a new topic, acids and bases. So in this topic we're going to learn about different acids and bases that we get around the house and in the chemistry lab, and then we are going to look at different reactions between those. But before we do that, we need to know what is an acid and a base and what particles are they made up of, and then we're going to move on. So today we are going to learn about the very basic structure of any matter that we see around us. So everything around us is made up of little particles, and those particles are called atoms. And if we have a very strong microscope and we could zoom in to anything around you, pretty much, we'll see a similar shape. And that shape we represent as a circle. And then what we'll see inside is another little dot. Okay, so we've got this inside ring, and then a big field. Pretty much, it's almost like empty space, but things moving around on the outside. So we have the inside, and the inside is called the nucleus. Okay, so a fancy word for inside, or at the center. And then on the inside, in the nucleus, there's two types of particles that live inside the nucleus. So some of them are positive, so we're going to put the little positives down there. So they are positively charged, and we call them protons. So protons are the positive little particles that live in the nucleus. Then with them we have these little we'll symbolize it as dots, and they don't have any charge. They're neutral. They're just sitting there taking up space, and they are called neutrons. So we have protons, that's positive, and we have neutrons, that's neutral, and they all live in the center part of the atom called the nucleus. Then what we have on the outside, and because there's so much room, there's little particles that move around that's negatively charged, and they have a lot of energy. So they are spinning around really, really fast, and that's why there's a lot of room, because all these particles are moving and spinning without bumping into each other. And they are called electrons. And those little particles are the particles that make chemical reactions happen, because they jump from one atom to another, or they react, and that's what happens when we have atoms combining to form new substances. So we'll talk about that a bit later. But at the moment, for this video, all you need to know is the basic structure of an atom. We have the nucleus on the inside, and then inside the nucleus we have protons, that's positive, that lives there, and we have neutrons, that's neutral, that lives in the nucleus. And on the outside we have these little tiny particles that are negatively charged, and they are called electrons. And in a normal average atom that's neutral, that doesn't have a charge, the amount of protons, the amount of pluses, and the amount of negatives, minuses, are going to be the same. So if we have an atom of hydrogen, for instance, hydrogen will have the same amount of protons and electrons. And if we have an atom of gold, for instance, it will have the same protons and the same amount of electrons. Don't worry about the neutrons and the number of them, because we're going to look at them a bit later on. But at the moment, the amount of pluses, the amount of minuses, negatives, are going to be the same. Right, so that's the basic structure of an atom.